everyone, it's Lorna the Ladybird Stitcher. Today is Sunday the 5th of November 2017 and I'm coming to you with my sort of late October update. Today is a wet grey day, which is awesome because Sydney is very dry at the moment. So most people I think in Sydney are very happy to have the rain, so it's really nice. Started to forget what rain sounded like on the roof, so it's really nice to have a bit of rain. Anyway, I've got a few things to show you this week, probably a little bit more than last time, so this might be a little bit longer video, but probably not too long. I'll go straight into my whips. The first thing I worked on was Story Keep Secret Door by Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is what it will look like when it's finished. And here's what it will look like. Sorry, here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here it is now. So I'll finish page 1. So this one is, I think, 4 pages long and 1.5 pages wide. So page 2 will be about half a page wide, and then it will just continue down. So yeah, I'm still enjoying this one, but I do have other Hades and Tilton Crafts that I want to continue the page I'm working on before I start on page 2 of this one. So it might go away for a little while until I do those, but yeah, still loving it. It's really good. I'm surprised actually. Usually I don't like stitching the same colour, and this is a lot of browns, which you can see in the door. But I think it's got enough breaks in it from the brown, so obviously her face is kind of mainly yellows if you look at it closely, probably due to the candle, and then the candle's got a lot of oranges in it, and then the green of her dress will come in later. I think you can obviously see a little bit of green there already, but I think page 3 will have a bit more greens. So even though it does have a lot of browns, it's broken up enough that it's not just blocks of colour. So yeah, really enjoying that one. So yes, I'm very happy with the way it's turning out. It's on 25 count Lugana, and it's on being stitched 1/1. I then worked on my Chatelaine Alpine Seasons Gardens, and when it's finished it will look like this. So I've had this one for a very long time, so I only have the paper chart. If I was to recommend Chatelaine to someone, which Chatelaines are great, but I think I would recommend a PDF rather than a paper chart if I was going to do this again, because especially the 1/1 stitching, which I've done a little bit of in this one, it's very small. I did need to sort of zoom in and photocopy the page a little bit, but even then it's kind of, you're guessing what the symbol is. So unfortunately they're extremely expensive, so I can't justify buying a PDF chart when I already have a paper copy. But yeah, so I'll push through. Still enjoying it, and the last time you saw it, it looked like this. And here's where it is now. Last time you saw it, I had the bird. Hang on, I'll just fold it up properly. So here it is now. Last time you saw it, the bird was done. And I mentioned briefly my last video, I mentioned briefly that I was working on the clouds here. Now they are basically tent stitch in one strand over 2. And they were turning out really uneven and messy and sloppy. I wasn't happy with them, so I pulled them all out and did them again as kind of 2 strokes of 1/1. So I guess the start of a pin stitch. So that's how I've done those, if you look closely. And I do like them better that way. And then these are just basic cross stitches. Now all these so far are NPI silks. I enjoy working with silks because they feel nice. They don't knot like DMC has a tendency to. The only thing is that white is white. There's no variegation in it whatsoever. Black is also black. There's no variegation in that whatsoever. And I think if I was to do this again, I would buy DMCs instead of the NPI silks. I guess I'm just not, I don't know, I find it hard to justify the additional cost of NPI silks, where I think even though working with NPI silks is nice, the look of them, I think the look of DMC would have been just as good. Maybe not 100% just as good, but you know, no one would have been able to tell. So yeah, I think DMC would have been okay with this, but I have the kit, so I'll keep going with it. So yeah, that's basically that line there is because I finished page, well, I didn't finish page 1, but that's where page 1 ends. Even though I continued with the clouds up here, I just thought I'll just work on page 1 for this, so that's what I've been doing. It's actually not page 1, I think it's about page 9, it's in the middle, but that's the first page I've been working on. So yeah, I am enjoying it though, and this is Spice Blend Fern Gully. It's 28 count casual linen, and it was dyed by Stitches and Spice in Australia, who are no longer trading. Then I pulled out Juliet, which will look like this when it's finished. And here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here it is now. So you may remember the last time I showed you this, I've finished page 4. Page 5 will go here, and I think that's a full page. But then that's where the row ends on there. But what I've done is started on page 6, because when I was working on page 1, I had worked down on page 6, and I thought I just want to finish the page before moving on to any new pages. And I've explained that in previous videos, I won't go into it again, but so I'm working on page 6 there, and that's 2 columns of it. I think I spent last weekend on this, and I managed to get 2 columns done. So, still really loving this one as well. I think I'm just in a full coverage mood at the moment, so really liking that. That one is a retired chart. That's also on 25 count Lugana 1/1. When I finished the 2 columns, I thought rather than start a new column, I'll work on something else. And I pulled out this one, which I haven't worked on for a while. It is Country Cottage Needlecrafts Afternoon in London. Country Cottage Needleworks, sorry. I knew that sounded wrong. That's Afternoon in London, and this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here it is now. So that is basically Big Ben, which is finished except for the back stitching and the French knots. It doesn't have much back stitching, it's just there's a time showing on the clock, and that's where the French knots go as well. So that's Big Ben is finished on that That's the very centre of the piece. But yeah, I only worked on it for about a day or two, but I am enjoying this one. This is on 28 count Opal Lugana in Islands of Avalon by Colour Cascade Fabrics. So that's a beautiful fabric one. Then on the 1st of November, it was the start of Movember, and I wanted to work on, this is an event in Mirror Mirror on the Wall on Facebook, so it's obviously Mirabilia's only, but you had to work on a mermaid to participate in this sale, and it goes for the whole month of November. It's never too late to join, so I'll leave the links below if you want to join that. But I'm working on Emerald Mermaid, and it was a new start, and here it is. So that's just her, it's part of her face and her hair. I did contemplate doing 1/1 skin for this one, but I'm going to leave it for a different Mirabilia, because this is on 32 count, and I like, my previous one, Lady of the Mist, was on 28 count, and I think if I'm going to start doing something which I've never done before, like 1/1 skin, I'd rather do it on a larger count fabric. So I think instead of trying it on 32 count, I will try it on another new start which I'm planning, which I'll talk about a bit later on, but when I'm working on 28 count. So this is Summer Sky by Witchelt. It's a 32 count Jobelin, and this is really soft, beautiful fabric. So yeah, enjoying that one. It's on my scroll frame. And then the November block of Happily Ever After came out, and this is what it looked like the last time you saw it. And here it is now. It is Pride and Prejudice for November, which I'm very happy about. I love that. I think that's probably my favourite block of this whole piece. I really did enjoy working on that one, even though I've made no secret of the fact that I'm not really enjoying this piece. But I did enjoy working on that block, and I finished the border as well. So now December, all I have to do is finish the block, or do the December block when it comes out, and then this will be finished. So yeah. I'm not sure if the last time you saw this I'd finished King Arthur, but that's King Arthur in October block, which is here. And then that's a close-up of Pride and Prejudice. And this is on 28 count Opal Lugana Ice Ice Baby by Colour Cascade Fabrics. And that is it for my whips and new starts. I had a couple of things that I purchased that I acquired, I guess, on the Aussie Stash Unload. This magazine came up, and it is the Christmas Ornaments issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine, 2010. And it was one that I'd been keeping an eye out for because, sorry, I'll find it very quickly. It's got a very specific pattern in it that I've wanted for a while. And it's this one, it's Brooks Books, Mother and Child. Madonna and Child, sorry, Madonna and Child. Yeah. They've finished it. There's actually a pattern there for these leaves, to stitch these leaves. And they've stitched that on, so they've stitched the leaves on perforated paper, and they've stitched the actual picture, the centre picture, on material, fabric. But I've decided that I'll probably get some perforated paper and put it on there. So put Madonna and Child on the perforated paper and make it a Christmas ornament to hang off the tree. These flowers are also a pattern, like they've included the pattern in the magazine. But I don't think I'll stitch those either. Yeah, I'm really excited to have this. So I'm not sure when I'll start it, but I'm looking forward to starting it. And then Chatelaine, Martina from Chatelaine, brought out a new chart. It's called Christmas Mini 2017, and it is free at the moment. So if you like it, it's better to download it now rather than wait, because she does change her freebies around a bit. Anyway, here's what it looks like. So yeah, I have seen it stitched up. I'm not sure if I will do it on black or dark fabric. I might do it on white or some other fabric, I'm not sure. I don't think I'll finish it for this year, but you know, it's a free Chatelaine, so why not? Now, there was a question on my last video, and it was by Sherry Loves Stitching. So hi Sherry, if you're watching. And she asked, are there particular companies you like getting your patterns from? I buy my patterns from lots of different places. There's 123 Stitch in the US. There's Stitching Bits and Bobs in the US as well. In Australia, there's JK's Cross Stitching Supplies, which is a Facebook company. There's also Colour Cascade Fabrics, who not only sell dyed fabric, but also threads and other patterns and all sorts of different accessories and things. Then there's Stash Unload. I get some of my patterns from there. There's a needlework shop that's close to me that I like to go to sometimes. Well, it's an hour away, but you know, close enough. So yeah, just wherever I can find what I'm looking for, really. Sometimes from eBay. As far as designers go, I think the most patterns I have is easily Mirabilia, and then Lavender and Lace, and Told in a Garden, and what's the other one? The other Marilyn one. So Mirabilia, Nora Corbett, and her mum's designs. I really like those. I like Hayes, Heaven and Earth Designs. I like Tilton Crafts. Although with Tilton Crafts, I find that the patterns are retired very quickly. And I think what she's doing now is just releasing limited editions of all her patterns. So if you like them, you kind of have to get them when you see them. And there aren't any at the moment that I kind of would stitch, so I haven't bought any from her for a while. Country Cottage Needleworks I like. Just whatever I like. But yeah, I do tend to lean towards Mirabilia's and Heaven and Earth Designs. But you know, tastes change, and I have looked at my whips, and there are quite a few in there that aren't, although they're not Mirabilia or Heaven and Earth Designs, I still like them. But also there are some whips that I started many years ago and I perhaps am not enjoying as much, but I do want to finish them anyway. So I hope that answers your question, Sherry. Feel free to leave any comments below, any questions in the comment section below, and I will try and answer it in my next video. As far as books, I only read one book this month, or these last couple of weeks, and it was The White Queen by Philippa Gregory, which is continuing from The Lady of the Rivers. It is about Elizabeth Woodville, who, if you watch Stitching Bliss Corner, I think, I'll put the name here, sorry Marie Rose, but she has just done a video on, or I've just watched a video, I'm a bit behind in my YouTube viewing, FlossTube viewing, but I just saw a video that she did on Margaret Beaufort and Elizabeth Woodville, and basically she explained the story as it happened, whereas The White Queen is a novel about that period and about Elizabeth Woodville. Margaret Beaufort does get a mention in there. So it's based on history, but like like Marie Rose said, it's a sketchy history because 1400s, you know, records weren't kept nearly as well as they are now. So a lot of the history is kind of what historians agree on, what people guess happened, there's not a lot of evidence of what actually happened. So as far as that book went, I didn't mind it. I'm finding that, I guess it's the period, it's not really the author's fault, but the period has a lot of battles and a lot of wars, and it was another page, another battle with this book. It was just like reading about a constant war, and I kind of need a break from that. I've never really been into war movies or war stories or anything like that, so even though I'm enjoying the history of it, I didn't enjoy the constant... I guess she doesn't describe the wars all that intensely, but it's just... it wasn't that exciting because that's what was happening throughout. It was like another war, you know, who's going to win this one kind of thing. So when her husband, the king, died, he left 2 heirs, and it kind of got interesting then because both boys were very young, and his brother decided to become the Lord Protector, but instead of ordaining the rightful king, he decided to become king himself, and no one really knows what happened to the boys in the tower. Who was one was the rightful king and one was the prince. So although the book tells it a little bit different, but I won't give it away. But anyway, so that was the book I read. I might take a break from Philippa Gregory just for a little while. I'm not sure what I'm going to pick up next. I have tried to pick up a couple of other books but can't really get into them, so I'll probably try something else. I've been keeping a list whenever someone recommends a book that I kind of like the look of or the sound of. I am keeping a list, and so I'll probably work my way down that list and get a few books from the library from that list. So that's about it. I don't know how long this is. I can't really see on my iPad. It's got white numbers on this wall, so it's not really showing up very well. But I hope that covered everything. I think I did. I will probably... oh, plans. Yes, I did have something else to talk about. Plans. In my last video I mentioned that since it's Movember I might just work on Emerald Mermaid. And although I've enjoyed working on her, I know that that's not going to keep me interested for the whole month. And so what I've decided is I've put together sort of a very loose plan, I guess, of my month. And what I've decided to do is work on Emerald Mermaid during the week, and then on weekends pick up something else. With one exception, I will be away for a couple of days during this month to visit family in Melbourne, so I'll take something different with me. I won't take this whole big scroll rod. It just won't fit in the luggage. So I'm thinking I might take with me Dreaming of Tuscany, which is a very small gold dimensions gold petites project, and it's one that I haven't picked up in a while, but one that I'm kind of hoping to finish relatively quickly. Hopefully next year. I don't want it to continue further than that. So maybe I'll take that along because it's small and it's compact and I can make progress on it, I guess. I hope. I don't know how much time we will have to stitch. The first couple of nights we're actually cruising down to Melbourne. So I'll be on a cruise ship for 2 nights, so I might have a bit of time then. But then the next couple of nights we'll be in Melbourne visiting family, so I probably won't have as much time to stitch the last couple of days, but that's okay. And then we'll come back and, you know, there'll be laundry and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure how much time I'll have to stitch then, but yeah, so forget what I said in my last video about just working on Emerald Mermaid and Happily Ever After this month, because Happily Ever After I've done what I can do. I can't physically do any more of it because I don't have the pattern for the rest of it. That will be released on the 2nd of December in Australian time, or Sydney time. And the as far as Happily Ever After, as far as Emerald Mermaid goes, I don't think it will keep me interested for the whole month. So I'm going to take breaks from it. And like I said, the plan is for every weekend to change and grab a different project every weekend. But whether I stick to that or just do what I feel like, it's cross stitch. I've reached all my goals for the year. So as far as stitching goes, I'm just doing what I enjoy at the moment, which is, I think, what a hobby should be, I guess. My thoughts on new projects. I keep wanting to start something new. I was watching Jessie Marie's video the other day about where she says that she wants to make new starts fun again and special, and I agree with that. And I've been wanting to start something new for so long now. I guess I haven't started anything since September, with the exception of Emerald Mermaid. But if I'm honest, I don't think I would have started Emerald Mermaid if it wasn't for the sale. I think I probably would have started something like the Prairie Schooler Alphabet, or maybe the Brooks Books March Sisters from the Little Women, or the Blackbird Designs Strawberry Fields Forever, something like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really wanting to start one of those, and the only thing stopping me is in December last year I started 3 huge projects. I started a Teresa Wensler fantasy triptych, and I've barely worked on it all year. I started my chatelaine, which I worked on for 1 day in December, and I haven't picked it up again until now. So it's gone 10 months without any work being put into it at all. And I started on Kingdom of Books, which I think I worked on for 1 or 2 days during December of last year, and I haven't picked up at all this year. So I'm feeling really guilty about those. I know I probably shouldn't, but at the same time, starting something new now is probably going to end up in the same situation. So I've decided that until I finish... Sorry about that, I ran out of storage in my iPad, and it was completely my fault. I didn't delete the video that I had from my last FlossTube video, so there's just a lot of stuff in there that needs to be deleted. So I've just picked up my phone, so I'll be doing this on my phone now, so hopefully you can still hear me, and there isn't much left to show anyway. But I was talking about my plans, and I was talking about what I feel like at the moment, and although I do want to start something new, until I finish 2 of the ones that I've carried over from for a very long time, I probably won't start anything else. The 2 that I'm thinking of in particular is Boy King by Janlin, and it was a kit. I don't have very much left to do on that, so I should just get it over with. It was one that I had UFO'd for a little while, and then decided that I couldn't really let it go. Although some of the stitching is very iffy. I was working on it when I was still a beginner stitcher. You know, going back quite a few years. I started stitching about 20 years ago, so it's got some very iffy stitching in it. But when I picked it up again, thinking I'd finish it, I started working on it with the threads that came in the kit. Most of the threads are fine, but it uses metallics that are horrible to work on. I wouldn't wish them on my worst enemy. They're absolutely torture. So I wasn't going to do that to myself, so I took them along to my LNS, and I matched them with Krennic that they had in the shop. So I have the chronic now, so I can continue with it. So when the mood takes me, I will, when the mood grabs me, I will pick that up again and work on it. So I would like to finish that one, and I'd also like to finish Dreaming of Tuscany, which I was talking about before. And yeah, if I finish those two, then I will permit myself to start something else. Well, there is another exception to that. I have been speaking to a few ladies here in Australia who have a copy of Villa Mirabilia, which I also have a copy of, and we've decided to do a sale, and that's going to be sometime next year, and I'll start Villa Mirabilia when they do. I thought I had fabric for it because I get a fabric of the month, but I get a fat quarter every month, and when I was calculating how much fabric it would need, it needs a fat half at least. So I've had to order that, and I've ordered that from Colour Cascade Fabrics. So when that comes in, I should hopefully be able to start it, but I won't start it until we decide to start the sale. As far as beads and things go, I usually like to get the beads before I start a project, but I've been kind of looking at it. It's a huge Mirabilia, and I'll leave the beads till last. So I just kind of think, why have those sitting there when I won't need them until right at the end, which could be 3-4 years down the track, who knows. So I haven't ordered them yet, but if the need arises for something else, if 123 Stitch suddenly has a pattern that I really, really want, maybe I'll order it from them, or I might just order it from JK's Cross Stitching Supplies or a local supplier. But anyway, so that's where things stand at the moment. I want to thank everyone for watching and for commenting and for subscribing and liking my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and happy stitching, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye everyone.